How's it going, everybody? ShadyRiku here with Kingdom Hearts Final Mix Missables. Now, what is a missable? Well, it's really just anything in the game that is time sensitive. In other words, if you pass a certain point in the game or trigger something in the story, the missable, whether it's an item or a cutscene, will no longer be able to be viewed or collected. There are really only two types of important missables in the game. Number one are cutscenes. So throughout the game there are various cutscenes that you will never see if you choose to do things in a specific order. For example, if you come back to Monstro after completing Hollow Bastion, not only will the cutscenes all be altered, but some will be missing entirely. Now, I've actually documented all these alternate scenes and put them side by side for comparison in my alternate scenes video that I done not too long ago, so almost every scene that is technically missable is included in that video for convenience sake. So if you really want to see all the missable scenes, make sure you watch that video. However, any cutscene that is missable and not part of a group of alternate scenes will be included here today. Furthermore, when it comes to cutscenes, unfortunately if you miss them you won't be able to ever view them without starting a new game, but this is where I come in. I will play the missable cutscene in full for you when I get to that point, so that even if you do miss it, you can watch it here to catch up with the story. And the second type of missables are items. These are much simpler to explain. A missable item is an item that cannot be collected after a certain point in the game, whether it gets replaced or is just missing entirely. So if you can backtrack at any point in the game and obtain the item, it's not missable. By the way, don't worry if you have missed out on any items in this video, because you will always have a chance to obtain that particular item in other ways. Admittedly though, some of these items are very hard to obtain, and this is why I made today's video, so that you don't miss out on any items during your playthrough. Now, technically, conversations with certain characters like talking to Leon outside the Dalmatian's house, or even certain interactions like the notice board at the Olympus Coliseum, which changes quite often, could be considered missable. However, these are just text boxes and not full-blown cutscenes. I'm sure you can appreciate that trying to include all of these in this video isn't practical, and it's not very interesting either, so things like this will not be included. Now, before I begin, I just want to let you all know that I have made YouTube shorts showcasing all of these missables separately, which I'm sure most of you have seen, but if not, I recommend checking them out. However, because I'm not restricted by the 1 minute stipulation on YouTube shorts, I can go into much greater detail on all of these in today's video, and give some great insights using the many helpful comments from my subscribers. So even if you've seen the whole series of shorts, keep watching as you'll learn new stuff and you may even get a shout out. So with that out of the way, let's begin Kingdom Hearts Missables. So we're going in chronological order throughout the game, and so the first instance of missables can occur right from the main menu. You see, when we start a new game, we have the option of selecting one of three different difficulties: Final Mix Beginner, Final Mix, or Final Mix Proud. If we choose Beginner, we actually start the game with a ribbon and an EXP necklace as accessories, as well as 8 power-ups, 8 defense ups and 4 AP ups in our item stock, all of which you'll miss out on if you choose a different difficulty mode. Don't worry if you didn't pick beginner mode though, because eventually through synthesis we can obtain all of these items. However, the downside of beginner mode is that you are unable to unlock the secret ending at the end of Kingdom Hearts. Now, the secret ending in itself is missable, so if you'd like to view it, it will have its own section near the end of this video. Final Mix mode, or what you could consider normal difficulty, does let us see the secret ending, although requires us to complete more objectives throughout the game than if we chose Final Mix Proud mode, which again I will go into detail on when we get to the section regarding the secret ending. However, unless we choose to play on Final Mix Proud, we will miss out on the only missable ability in the game, and this is one of Sora's abilities called EXP Zero. This ability is exclusive to Proud mode, and when equipped, stops Sora from gaining any experience. This allows players to do what is called a level 1 run, where they can attempt to beat the game without leveling up. I personally have never done this, so I don't know too much about it, but from what I've read, it seems to have a hidden property to boost our magic damage. You see, when we do an attack combo, unless interrupted, it will always end in a large swing called a combo finisher, whether in the air or on the ground. This final hit actually does a lot more damage than the weaker initial hits. Now here is where EXP Zero comes in. You see, if you have this ability equipped and then perform a combo finisher, the extra damage will carry over to our magic attacks, making them much stronger. Not sure if this was intentional or just a bug, but shout out to this subscriber for letting me know about it. I later tested this out with Mushu, and it does work, so I can confirm that. Shortly after starting a new game, we awake on Destiny Islands where we find the majority of our missables, since the island gets destroyed and we are never able to return here later in the game. So we spend 2 in-game days on Destiny Islands, and on each day, Kairi asks us to collect supplies for the raft. Now Kairi can potentially hand over items at the end of each day. In each case you either obtain a high potion, a potion, or nothing, and which item you get is determined by how you interact with her. If you collect all the supplies before talking to Kairi, she will give you a high potion, or if you do talk to her before collecting all the items, she will ask if you're listening to her, and regardless of your answer, nothing changes. However, speaking to her again will prompt Kairi to ask if we found everything. Select It's All Under Control and you will still get the high potion once you return with all the supplies. However, if you talk to Kairi and at any point select I'm a little lost, she will give you a hint on where to find one of the supplies you're missing. However, your reward will now be downgraded to a potion and you'll miss out on the high potion. And worst case scenario, if you select I'm totally clueless, Kairi will tell you exactly where to find one of the supplies you need, but in exchange she will no longer give you an item at the end of the day. Now after returning with all the supplies, regardless of our reward, we don't want to call it a day just yet. We want to make sure we talk to Selphie, Tidus and Wakka, because doing so triggers a unique short cutscene with each respective character. If we end the day by speaking to Kairi, we will never be able to see these cutscenes. I'm sure most of you have seen these before, but I will play them now on screen for those that haven't.
Hey, what's happening, man?
The breeze feels great.
Hey, Sora, you feel lucky today?
After talking to them, we also have the option of fighting each character individually.
You're going down. Oh man, I'm really off today.
And if we beat all 3 of them, then talk to Tidus again, the option to fight them all at once is unlocked.
Let's get him.
If we are victorious in this 3-on-1 battle, we obtain a potion.
I can't believe we lost.
In this way, we can continually rack up potions in our inventory before leaving the island. Similarly, during our second day on Destiny Islands, the exact same thing happens. All 3 characters, when spoken to for the first time, speak to Sora in a unique cutscene, which I will once again play on screen.
Hey Sora, have you heard about the legendary power of the Paopu fruit? They say if you share it with someone you really care for, it binds you together forever and ever, through eternity. It's so romantic. I gotta try it sometime.
Me and Tidus, we are gonna do a little exploring today. You know, to the secret place at the base of that tree. There's gotta be something there, yeah?
I think you've gotten stronger, but odds are you're still no match for Riku. We took him on 3-1 last time, and he whipped us all. Well, I guess Kairi can always count on him.
Once again, if we collect the supplies for the raft and end the day by speaking to Kairi, we will never be able to view those small cutscenes, and we will also lose the chance to fight them or obtain the potions for beating all 3 at the same time, since the island gets destroyed that very same night. Before ending day 1, however, the last thing we want to do is speak to Riku, who's sitting on the palm tree, and we have the option to fight him. Each time we win, we obtain a potion, just like in the 3-on-1 fight we spoke about before. However, unlike fighting Selphie, Tidus and Wakka, once we end day 1 by speaking to Kairi, we will no longer be able to fight Riku, since he's now on the other half of the island that unlocks during day 2, the Cove. Although we miss out on the ability to fight Riku for potions, we actually gain the ability to race him, initially to name the raft, but beating him in any subsequent races will net us a pretty stone, a very useful item which we can sell later on in the game for money. Considering how hard money can be to collect in Kingdom Hearts, especially in the beginning, it's not a bad idea to race Riku multiple times before leaving the island. By the way, if you're struggling to beat him in these races, don't worry, I'm in the process of making a short guide for beating Riku every time, which I will link in the description as soon as it's made. Having access to the other side of Destiny Islands during day 2 also gives us the ability to obtain Destiny Island's only chest, which is hidden inside the small cave to the side of the tower, which we can get to with the help of the large crate. By the way, if you break the crate at any point, just leave the cove and come back and it will respawn. Inside this chest up here is a protect chain. Make sure you collect this before ending the day, as Destiny Islands gets destroyed that very same night and you'll never be able to return here to open the chest. And finally, before we leave Destiny Islands, we need to end day 2 by speaking to Kairi. Now initially we need to speak to her and she will ask us to collect provisions for the raft, while providing us with an empty bottle to fill with water. If you then go and collect all the provisions before talking to Kairi again, she will give you a high potion. Talking to her a second time without all the supplies will prompt Kairi to once again ask if we found everything, just like she did during day 1. And just like our first day on the island, the options and the outcomes remain the same. Select It's All Under Control and you'll still receive the high potion once you return with everything. If at any point you select I'm a little lost, Kairi will give you a hint on where to find one of the provisions you're missing. However, your reward will now be downgraded to a potion and you'll miss out on the high potion. And worst case scenario, if you select I'm totally clueless, Kairi will go into detail on exactly where to find one of the provisions you need, but in exchange she will no longer give you an item at the end of the day. Once again, she will ask if you want to call it a day. Doing so will set the game in motion and you will no longer be able to return to Destiny Islands as it gets destroyed that very same night, so make sure you haven't missed out on any of the missables up to this point in the video. If you're happy to proceed, call it a day and we can continue. Once Destiny Islands gets destroyed, however, we end up in Traverse Town and shortly after we must fight Leon. Now if you've seen my alternate scenes video, you'll know that this is one of the few fights in the game where you can win or lose, and the story will continue regardless of the outcome, giving you a slightly altered cutscene depending on the result. However, if you lose to Leon here, you actually miss out on an elixir. You see, eventually we fight Guard Armor in Traverse Town's 3rd district, and after the fight, Leon, Yuffie and Aerith give us 500 money for our journey. At this point you will also obtain an elixir from Leon. However, if you lost the fight to him, he will not reward you with the elixir, and so this item is missable depending on the outcome of the fight. For our next missable, we are in Traverse Town, but at a very specific point in the game. After fighting Leon in Traverse Town's 1st district, we are taken to the hotel's green room, and shortly after we are tasked with finding the Heartless Leader, aka Guard Armor. At this very specific point in the game, we can actually make our way back to the 1st district and talk to Aerith, who is standing outside the accessory shop, and she will give Sora a mega potion. Make sure you get this before going to the 3rd district, as this will trigger the Guard Armor fight, and afterwards we can no longer obtain this item. For our next missable chest, head over to Wonderland, go to the Queen's Castle and check if Alice is still inside the cage. If she is, then Alice's trial has not finished yet, and this is perfect. Now we need to head back to the rabbit hole, then go towards the save point and defeat the 3 waves of Heartless that appear. Afterwards, a chest will materialise containing a camping set. If Alice isn't inside the cage, then the trial has finished, and unfortunately you will have missed out on the previous item, as it gets replaced after the battle with the Card Soldiers. If you return to the rabbit hole now, you'll find slightly tougher Heartless, and if you defeat them like before, a chest will appear, but this time containing a Mega Potion. Make sure you get this Mega Potion before finishing Hollow Bastion, otherwise the chest will once again be replaced. If we return after Hollow Bastion, much tougher Heartless will spawn, but you will be appropriately rewarded, as this third and final chest will contain a Mega Elixir. Don't worry, by the way, this third chest is not missable, unlike the first two. Next up is arguably the most easily missed and obscure cutscene in the game that I'm sure some of you have not seen before. So during our second visit to Traverse Town, Cid asks us to return the old book to Merlin, and after doing so we find Cid standing behind the accessory shop in the first district. Talking to him nets us a gummy, and we can now leave Traverse Town and travel to our next world, Agrabah. However, anytime after getting this gummy, but before being swallowed by Monstro, we can enter the accessory shop and find Pinocchio cowering near the counter. Talk to him to initiate a cutscene, which I will play on screen now.
Well, as I live and breathe, if it isn't Pinocchio.
Oh, hi, Jiminy.
What in the world are you doing down here?
Playing hide and seek.
I just don't believe it. And here I was, up all night just worried sick about you. Why, of all the Pinocchio?
Once you seal Agrabah's keyhole and attempt to fly the gummy ship to Halloween Town or Atlantica, you will be swallowed by Monstro, and once this happens you will never be able to see that cutscene. The reason for this is because once we are inside Monstro we run into Pinocchio again, and he can't be in two places at once of course, so you will no longer find him in the accessory shop. This missable cutscene also explains how the party already knows who Pinocchio is once they see him again inside Monstro, which always confused me. Just like this subscriber, I assumed that the party knew about Pinocchio because of Jiminy, not because of this cutscene, but after learning about this missable scene, now it all makes sense.
Come on, everybody.
Now our next missable isn't until much later in the game. This missable is actually located at the world Terminus area at the end of the world. This is the area where we can revisit all the previous worlds in the game by stepping on the flames in the centre of each platform. Eventually we reach a platform with a green light instead of a flame, and this is actually the 100 Acre Woods world, and if we enter into the world we get access to a save point. After leaving the 100 Acre Woods we can now proceed to the final platform and step into the large orange flame. This transports us to a unique area in the game where we must defeat 3 invisible Heartless to proceed. Afterwards the door down the hallway will open, and inside is a chest containing an elixir. If you examine the computer in this room, more Heartless will spawn and you must defeat them all before you can exit back into the hall. To continue the story, we must leave this area. However, once we do so, the flame transforms into a hole on the ground and we will never be able to get back here. So make sure you have collected the elixir, as this is our last missable chest in the game. And our final missable in Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, which I alluded to earlier, is the secret ending. This is like a mini movie which plays right at the end of the game after we have defeated Ansem, officially called Another Side, Another Story. Now there are actually two secret endings at the end of Kingdom Hearts. We have the basic secret ending, which I will refer to as secret ending number 1, and then we have like a remixed and extended version of the secret ending, which I'll call secret ending number 2. And depending on what difficulty mode you're playing on and what you have or have not completed, will determine which of these two endings you see at the end of the game. And the first of these secret endings I'm going to cover right now. So before I play this cutscene, let's explain how to unlock it. Well, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, when we start a new game we are given the option to play the game on one of 3 different difficulties, and depending on our choice this will determine how or if we unlock the secret ending. First of all, if we choose beginner mode we are unable to view the secret ending at all, and so this becomes missable right from the start. If we choose final mix difficulty, or what you could consider normal mode, we need to seal the keyhole of every world, including the 100 Acre Woods, and also find all 99 Dalmatians. Luckily I have a Dalmatians guide on this channel which you can use as reference if you need to locate them, and for completing the 100 Acre Woods use the combination of my Torn Pages guide and my minigames guide and you will have no issues. However, you need to be careful not to 100% complete Jiminy's journal in this mode, because doing so will change the secret ending to the second version. We can check whether we have completed the journal by pausing the game. If there is a golden Mickey Mouse ear on the journal section of the menu, then you have 100% completed the journal. But if the Mickey Mouse ear is missing, then there are still requirements to be met before the journal is complete. This is why it's actually harder to see the first secret ending rather than the second secret ending, because you can always come back and complete more objectives, but you can't uncomplete or uncollect anything. So if you're not careful, it's very easy to miss secret ending number 1 by completing too much of the game, and this becomes even more crucial when we play on Final Mix Proud mode. You see, if we choose to play on Final Mix Proud, we actually don't need to meet any requirements. All we need to do is complete the game by defeating Ansem, and we will be able to view the secret ending. Now, because we chose to play on the hardest difficulty, the game rewards us by making both secret endings easier to unlock. But then we also need to be very careful, because if we seal all the keyholes, including the 100 Acre Woods, and complete the Hades Cup even once, the secret ending will be changed to version number 2, which we will want to see eventually, but for now, if we're trying to view secret ending number 1, we must not meet these requirements or we will miss out on viewing this movie. Now, like I said before, because it's impossible to uncomplete anything in the game, it's very easy to miss this secret ending, but don't worry, I'm going to play it now for you in full, so if you want to complete the game and see this yourself, then use the timestamps to skip ahead. Alright, so there is one final missable, and it comes in the form of a cutscene exclusive to Kingdom Hearts Final Mix that changes the original secret ending. You could consider this like the remixed version of the normal secret ending, officially known as Another Side, Another Story Deep Dive. What do we have to do to trigger this bonus cutscene? Well, like before, there is no way to view this if we are playing on Final Mix Beginner, so it is once again 100% missable on this mode. On Final Mix mode, or what you could consider normal difficulty, we must complete Jiminy's journal in order to unlock this. If you pause the game and see a golden Mickey Mouse here, this means you have successfully completed the journal, and from here you just have to finish the game by defeating Ansem and you will view this extended movie. If you don't have a golden Mickey Mouse here, then the journal is still incomplete. Luckily, I have multiple guides on the channel which covers most of the journal already, so if you have certain sections that are incomplete, make sure you watch the appropriate guides on my channel. Links will be in the description. I will eventually make a Jiminy's journal guide for the channel, so keep an eye out for that in the future, and whenever it's made I will link it in the description and at the end of the video. Now if we are playing on Final Mix Proud difficulty, then it once again becomes easier to unlock this secret ending. The only requirements are to seal the keyholes of every world, including the 100 Acre Woods, and to complete the Hades Cup. Luckily, both of these requirements are covered in great detail inside my mini games guide, so if you need any help, make sure you watch that video. Now technically you could argue this isn't missable unless you're playing on beginner mode, since we have to reload our save file after we get to the end screen, and after reloading we can complete the requirements to unlock the second secret ending. But if you have to reload a save file to not miss something, I would say that comes under a missable. Plus, I never included this in my alternate scenes video, so this gives me an excuse to talk about it. For the last time today, I'm going to play this missable cutscene in full, so be warned, there are spoilers ahead. So if you'd rather complete the game and see this yourself, then use the timestamps to skip ahead to the outro. And that is it guys, every missable item and cutscene in Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, finally compiled in a nice little video. I don't believe I missed anything other than scenes already included in my alternate scenes video, but on the off chance that I did, please let me know in the comments. Also, please let me know about any missables that are in the original Kingdom Hearts, because I will be making a separate video on those missables as well, since many of the missables in Kingdom Hearts are no longer missable in the Final Mix version. And lastly, I just want to thank you all for the great support for the channel lately. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers and the feedback has been incredible. But for now, I am ShadyRiku. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take care.